All right, guys. Now we are transitioning to, well, what do you think? Robocop.
Absolutely. I'll buy that for $1.
Ah, so you obviously grew up watching this like I did
Right.
because you have, tell us about these props here.
Okay, so this one here, I've had this since I was a kid. It was a Christmas gift. I think it came from like the Sears catalog or JCPenney catalog that tells you how old this is. I got this when I was probably 7 or 8, so it's about 30 years old. They don't make toys like that anymore, like that'll
Well, whatever
last.
you do, do not let producer Nick touch this because he will break it.
And I mean, I played with it hard as a kid, like, and it's still in good shape.
Where's his
This,
face? Did it have a
well,
face or is it missing?
no, that's his face, but there's, I need to put some new batteries in it. It lights up and he says like you remove creep and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then this is one of those old school figures, which back in the day you put the little cap. What were they called again?
I,
It was like a little cap
I
gun
mean, I remember the Cap
paper,
Guns
and it
had
would
the,
smoke. That you wouldn't find this in Target today.
no, 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 no.
And then this is just like I think this is a NECA figure. This one
Kind of like the
is
Back to the Future ones.
right. This one's fairly recent. This is one of those ones that they came out with, about a year ago. Nice detail. For a $30 figure, it's pretty good detail.
So yeah, RoboCop. What was it, 1986 or 87? Something
Uh,
like that.
believe it's 1987.
Um, man,
Yeah, 1987. You're right.
you know, it's whenever this movie, like I don't remember it releasing, obviously. I was 7 years old, but
Right.
I remember watching it a ton as a kid.
Yeah. I remember it on
And
VHS.
I the blood and all that stuff that didn't bother me. And maybe there's something wrong with me because I watched all these horror movies and stuff like this when I was a kid, and it's just it might explain a few things with me. But what I remember most is Ed 209, of
Hmm.
course, but then Kurtwood Smith, Red from that '70s
Oh,
show,
yes,
the
yes,
bat
yes.
what's his name? Clarence Boddicker.
Right.
I like his
Well,
character.
because he plays the devil here.
Oh, he's horrible. And the whole we used to do that when we were kids.
Dude,
We would
yes.
reenact that and stuff like that. I mean, that is just how impactful his character was on me
Oh my gosh.
as a kid. I
And
mean, he's what I remember aside from RoboCop,
right.
what I just remember the most, you
No,
know.
he's literally the devil in this movie. Like his disregard for human life to like a crazy extent.
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, and he's not a huge guy.
Nope.
He's very
Just
confident.
his presence,
He
man.
has this
And
presence
his
about him.
voice, I think his voice
Yeah.
and his delivery, can you fly, Bobby? Just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the way
And the way
he's just
when he
brilliant.
takes that grenade and he like sticks his tongue through the
Yeah,
pin,
yeah, yeah.
like he's
Didn't
so
need to do
yeah,
that.
he's so like
You sick bastard.
snake like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And like you would it's just weird because he is like this snake like evil guy, but he could have even he looks like he could have been a nerd, but he's not.
Hmm.
He's just straight,
Well, if you on Netflix, they have the movies that made us, and
yes.
this is one of them. And I don't really, I watched it, but I don't remember everything from it. But I do remember, I'm pretty sure it was the first time he ever played a villain.
Okay.
He
Wow.
wasn't that interested in it from what I remember him saying. I need to rewatch it, but it's a good episode on Netflix if you
Right.
haven't seen those. All of those are really well done.
I've seen a handful of them. I remember watching the Back to the Future one, and I've seen a few on there. They're pretty well done.
Hmm.
They're able to get a lot of people that worked on it, which I think would be hard to do.
So rewinding,
Hmm.
RoboCop is played by Peter Weller,
Yes.
who's like my size. He's probably 5'10", 5'11", and in
Uh-huh.
this, he's probably smaller than me. He's probably like 150 pounds
Yeah.
in this
Okay.
movie. And they needed somebody once they designed the suit, they needed somebody skinny
Hmm.
but who was athletic and could move in it. And so that's kind of how he got the role. And his face and his lips, they said, they of course they were like
Right.
looking at him this way, see what he would look like with the mask, and I mean, he looks awesome.
Yeah, and if you would have had to say like the handful of things that had to be in this movie, definitely, Clarence, we already talked about that. But Peter Weller, like I think that's perfect casting, but it's not what you would think. He's not Arnold.
Hmm.
He's not this big hulking guy. He's not like he's subtle in his confidence, but when he first shows up at the police station and you look at his face, well, I remember watching it for the first time and I go, "Oh, I was like, that's the guy they use." And I mean, he's just like so pure and just like he just seems like a nice guy.
Hmm.
He's not it's
But when he puts on his police gear,
yes.
he's the real deal.
He's the real deal, but
Yeah.
he's not,
Right.
he's not that
He's not that presence.
stereotypical.
He doesn't have
Yeah.
what is it, that physical, he's not physically imposing.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's like me. I'm not physically imposing.
yeah. But yeah, he's confident in subtle ways, like when, he meets his partner and she's like, I drive, I always take the newbies around. And he goes, well, when I'm training a new partner, I drive. And he drives off
Hmm.
and he's in the seat driving, but it's like a subtle confidence,
Yeah.
It's like when approached, he says what he needs to. And I like that about him because I feel like
Because he
him
wasn't really a rookie. He was just from
another
another
precinct.
precinct. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I feel like that works really well, especially when he goes through what he goes through.
But we can all agree also, getting just to the movie itself and the way it's directed,
Paul Verhoeven.
it's satirical, it's satire.
Yes.
Um, all of his movies are Total Recall,
Uh-huh.
Starship Troopers, all of that stuff. I mean, he just has this style, and I love that stuff.
Yes. I watched Total Recall a lot too as
Oh,
a
Total
yeah.
Recall's great.
Total Recall I watched a lot too. But what's crazy about this though is yes, it is satire. And it's kind of crazy how when you watch it now, you're like, whoa, I've seen that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
satire that's
Right.
something. But I'm talking about like the commercials, the
Right.
mechanical hearts,
Yes.
which are way too big, by the way. I don't know if you looked at them to scale, like a heart ain't that big.
Yeah, it's like a football.
Yeah, like pick up this proton pack. What's a heart? Um,
Um,
the
the
Nukem,
dinosaur,
the
the
dinosaurs,
Nukem,
the Nukem
yes.
commercial, and I don't even remember what they said.
Oh, he's like, something like Pakistan's invading my border, or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize if that's the wrong country, but it's some
No,
Middle
it's
Eastern country.
Pakistan.
It's
It's
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, that satire stuff, which is really like funny and almost lampoony, but then the dramatic stuff, like, is dead
Yeah,
serious.
yeah.
So as a kid, I was like, it it like blew my mind because it's like parody hilarious, and then the gut-wrenching dramatic scenes, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
like when he gets killed,
It's
basically, and
brutal, man.
especially the unrated version, like we were saying,
Right.
it goes on for about 10 seconds more. I think
Yes.
it's actually like 4 seconds. It's very minor, but it was
Right.
enough because they got an X rating. They had to re-edit to get
Hmm.
the R rating.
Uh-huh.
So, um, those extra 4 or 5 seconds make a huge deal. I mean, you just see the
Right.
arm flying off, which you don't see in
Dude.
the rated R version.
Yeah, and the rated R, you don't see the arm blow off.
No.
But in both versions, you see his hand blow off.
Yeah, when he
And
goes,
when I was a kid, I was like,
what is
what?
happening?
Like, it's awful. I mean, I remember watching it as a kid, and I turn to my dad and I'm like, why do you like this? And he's like, wait about 10 minutes. Because then all the horrific stuff he goes through, it builds a perfect
But
heroic
it's
character.
such a great idea. Take
Right.
this guy who, how do you make this machine? Well, it's got to be part human. He's basically a cyborg. So
Right.
what better way to do it than to get a police officer who was
Okay. Yep.
massacred, and
Well, in backing up a little bit, the
it's very
reason,
Darth Vader-ish,
yeah, it is. And the reason they do that though is because they have crime in Detroit is awful,
right?
like to a umpteenth level, and they want to rebuild the city, they have this master plan,
But they got to
but
get crime under
they
control.
can't do that till crime's under control. So they have this Ed 209, which is basically it's like a giant frog. It's a robot, but there's weaknesses in it, and
Yeah, like
it malfunctions
it
in the
malfunctions
office.
and murders somebody. The best part about that scene
Is
is
how like it's not a big
afterwards he's
deal.
like, "I'm very disappointed." Disappointed? That's the word you're gonna. Nick and I were laughing.
Yes, I know, and it's like the people, it's like another day at the office
Hmm.
for them, you know. So yeah, their their
Oh
HR
man, I
department
mean,
must be filled.
what's his name is Dick Jones. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, he's the same villain from Total Recall.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
he's a
God, we should have wrote it. Did you write it down?
no, but I can pull it up quick.
Oh man, and you're gonna say it, and then I'm gonna slap myself.
But so his robot malfunctions, right? The Ed 209 kills that guy, and I like when he takes the gun and he goes, point it in a threatening manner, and he points it at his boss, and he's
To Dick Jones, he goes, point at it, Ed.
Ed 209, and then the guy that eventually creates RoboCop, Bob, I think his name is Bob. Yeah, Bob Morton,
I
and
had to
then
kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake.
yeah, and
Or
then
yeah.
and then the African American guy next to him, his expressions are great because they're all kind of like when he points it at the wrong guy. But then he points it at 209 and he gets blown away. And so with that, Bob takes the opportunity to sidestep his boss to go to the big boss and say, "Hey, I got something ready to go. It's this RoboCop project, right? Where you need a human surrogate, combine it with the machine." And I guess the idea
Well, they
behind
needed
it,
a volunteer, is
a
what they were
volunteer.
saying, right?
And I guess the idea is that you need the instincts of a cop, but in a body that's indestructible. I think that's the
And I
idea.
think also something that wouldn't scare the public, like
That too.
innocent people. I
Right.
mean, this is a lot less scary than an ATST running up and
Yeah.
down the street,
It does look like
with
that.
big old cannons and rockets and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it does look like that. Like a some like yeah. So, um, they do this RoboCop project and they're waiting for a candidate, and then like we were just talking about when Murphy gets blown away.
What's his name? What's Dick Jones's
Oh,
name?
that's what we were doing at first. Dick Jones is
He's in. I mean, he got famous in uh, Deliverance. He's
okay, yes. Sorry, I'm
golly, we are having a brain fart, people. Sorry, but anyway, so RoboCop is awesome. He goes out there and he goes on patrol. He starts answering calls. He shoots the guy in the dick. That's
Ronnie Cox.
Ronnie Cox.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Okay.
Um, he was also in the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Mm.
But he starts going on patrol and all this stuff, and it's great. You dun, 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 dun,
Okay,
dun, dun, dun,
and I love
dun.
that. Yes, the score is great.
Hmm.
And I looked up the guy that did the score. He did the Conan score too. But he
Hmm.
didn't do much else like bigger properties. He did a lot of like B movie stuff. But that score is great. Like that's one of the things that you need in there. And I like when, like you said, when he first gets created and he goes out, he does what did you say he does?
Well, he shoots the guy in the dick.
I love that. He deserved every bit of it.
You saw that picture? That girl took a picture with Peter Weller at a Comic-Con, and she has a shirt that says, "Remember when RoboCop shot that guy in the dick?"
Oh,
He was laughing in the picture. It was funny. It's great.
that is funny. I love those it's a convenience store one
Yeah,
where
he bends
he
the
bends,
arrow.
yes, and then when he shoots the guy, which he deserved every bit of it. He was gonna do who knows what to that
Hmm.
girl.
Hmm.
And then there's another one. Oh, the suicidal guy. That's like
Oh,
I want to
the city councilman that walks.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and he's like I want a car and I want a office with the side view and like all this.
And he reaches in and he pulls him through the wall.
Yeah, I love those three
So,
beats right
but
after another.
what makes this movie great is one, it's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Hmm.
They get to it. It's fast. Sometimes some movies are just a little long in the tooth. They overstay their welcome. A
Right.
movie like this, you didn't need too much exposition. There's just enough exposition. You see it in his memories, um, which starts happening after the cool scene where he's on patrol and all that. He's sleeping one day and then he's starting to
Hmm.
have the Clarence Boddicker flashbacks and all that good stuff, and he wakes up and all, whatever, then he starts to have the memories. That's when
Right.
he start trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? There's something else here. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
all of that stuff is great.
No,
I
that
just
adds a layer to this movie. It's not
a
just
little more grounded, it brings
yeah,
it down from the all the satire and all that good stuff.
right.
It's just really neat, and that's what I like about it. You get in, watch a kick-ass movie, and then it's over.
Uh-huh. You're
I don't
right.
know.
And I like how, in a typical movie, you would have a setup with this is his wife, this is his kid, this is his day-to-day life. Then you'd go to the pre-scene.
Right, which is what they did with the remake. The remake, you got
You're
to
right.
know Murphy. I think his name was Murphy in the remake. Anyway, you
I
got to
think it
know the
was, yeah.
officer a lot more until that car blows up or whatever.
Right.
Um, and they don't do that in here, and I like it this way.
Yeah.
It's let's get to it. You can have a little leave a little bit more up to the imagination. I mean, I'm not gonna say any names, but George Lucas, you don't need all the prequels. I don't need the backstory. Hearing about the backstory is what I need. That's beautiful. It's great. The mystery
Yeah.
of knowing that, he was a real man before.
He's just saying this because I like the Star Wars prequels.
That wasn't a jab at all. But anyway,
Um,
that's that to me, that's what makes it so good. I
well,
like it. It leaves it, I don't know. You get just enough.
no, and I like that. And the fact that you don't learn about his family until he's having
Hmm.
flashbacks, it makes you feel like him because you're getting pieces and you don't know the whole thing, but he doesn't either, because he's all scatterbrained because the machine's taken over, but then his human side's fighting it because you have little things like him twirling the gun, like the guy on TV that his kid liked.
Hmm.
You have him saying your move creep and all that stuff that he said when he was human. You have those subtleties in there, and then he have these flashbacks. I like that them doing it that way because you learn stuff as he learns it,
Hmm.
you know. So,
Or
and that
like
also helps with the
when
pacing.
I think his name is the redhead when he's
Oh, we killed you.
uh
That
what's his name? I can't think of his name in the movie. Like Emil, I think is his name. I think his name is Emil.
uh-huh.
You're dead. We killed you.
Right.
We killed you. And I don't know, I love that scene. He
Yeah,
starts replaying it,
uh-huh.
but the best part about that scene is the explosion and
At
how
the gas station?
yeah, like the explosion's going, and he's just looking, and he's like, "Holy crap, what is going on?" Like it, and
Yeah,
then he refocuses back on him, and he starts shooting while the flames are like
that's a good scene.
going out. I don't know, it's great.
No, it's good.
1987, man,
And
all practical, no CGI there.
yeah, it was a lot of practicality for sure. And gosh, he's such a jerk to that convenience store guy. He
Oh
goes,
yeah.
and that line he said has always stuck with me. You think you can outsmart a bullet? I'm like, what?
What does
Like,
that
what a
even mean?
jerk.
But what does it even mean?
I guess what he means is like, no matter how smart you are, the bullet can take you down.
But that's
That's the
dumb.
way I always, yeah,
That's
it's
stupid.
it's messed up.
Emil is his name.
Yeah.
Emil.
And he gets his comeuppance too.
Oh
He
man.
turns into the Toxic Avenger. That
And he goes, and
and,
that dude's eyes like, don't touch me. I like that.
oh yes, the one guy with the dark hair.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah,
like, yeah, man.
that's
He's
like
like,
one of the that comedian. He's like ah. He probably didn't have to act too much there. And then Clarence hits him and his head falls off.
his
That's
head fall off and he
disgusting.
like just mush.
But at that point, he needed to be taken
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it's like take him out.
Yeah, because like you're not coming back from that. You're done. And I don't feel that sorry
And
for you.
that's another one of those scenes that stuck with me because it was
Yeah,
just so like, oh my God.
outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. Um, and backing up a little bit, we were talking about Jaws earlier, how they wait to show you everything. When
Oh,
they show you
when
RoboCop,
they're barely showing him,
dude, that still
that's awesome,
plays.
huh?
It's amazing. Because you see a little bit of him from the back. Okay,
Well, first you hear him walking, you
you
hear
hear him walk
doom,
that.
doom.
That's another thing that has to be in this movie. It gave the suit
Great
weight,
sound effects. Yep.
great sound effects, and totally different than Terminator.
Hmm.
You know, I love that. And then you get a glance at him, but it's through I guess what do they call that glass
It's like a frosted
it's like so you
glass.
can't see
Yeah.
completely through it, and you kind of see his side profile, but
Then he
it's hazy.
turns.
But then, yeah,
Then you see him on the monitor.
uh-huh. I
Yeah.
love all that.
So can you imagine? I mean, we were so young, but as an adult, seeing that for the first time, That had to be awesome.
Yeah.
Or I say an adult, even a teenager, just somebody old enough to remember seeing that for the first time.
It's still impactful. It still looks great. I still wouldn't change anything about it. Like I love how he looks in the suit,
Well, it's just
especially
good
those first
directing.
shots.
I
Yeah.
mean that
I like how they wait to show you.
that's how the pros do it.
Yeah. And he has the presence like a Darth Vader, like where you're staring at him is enough. Like
Hmm.
you're like, "Whoa, that looks so cool." I love that. I was gonna say I do have a nitpick though. When he takes the helmet off, the black guard goes away too, and they never show it.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Hey, you
I
know
didn't
what
even
I'm
catch
talking
it.
about now?
Because I think you get so distracted with the makeup, how
Yeah.
good it is, how they transition his head
That's
and all that
perfect.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
But it bugs me the guard is gone when the helmet's off. But
I
you never
never caught it. I mean, you shouldn't have told me that.
Hey, that's minor, especially in 1987.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the Batman thing
with
where
the
he
eye
puts the
makeup,
makeup, but then the Patterson version
they
kept it
actually show it.
because
Yeah,
he's emo. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So what is there something else that you wanted to bring up before we um
Oh, his gun is awesome.
his gun is oh yeah when he's doing the
It holds
targeting.
apparently like 5,000 rounds. I mean, Nick said that when he was a kid or when he was younger, he always thought the leg opening holster was
Uh-huh.
like the coolest thing ever.
Right. I like that because it's got a little
It's something different. You never
it's
see that.
different and like
It reminds me of the old VHS tapes that go and you put the
it
tape
does
in
look
and then
like that.
that's what it
Especially
always
the way
reminded
it
me of.
opens up, it
Hmm.
kind of looks like that. But if you think about it, if he's completely machine, it'd look funny kind of having a gun hanging off. It makes
Yeah.
more sense that it would go inside. Um, so yeah, that's a cool thing that they have in there. That hasn't been repeated a lot. I've never seen that anywhere
And
else.
look, and Nancy Allen was great as his partner.
Yes.
Even though her role is a lot smaller than I remember, for some reason I remember her being more in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Um, she still was great. She had the look. Um, I don't know. She was just good.
Well,
She
and
was really
she
good.
she puts her life on the line with him, and she's the one that starts to put it together that he's Murphy.
Hmm.
Remember? Because she's like Murphy, like, and she
Murphy,
starts,
it's you.
it's
Yeah.
you, yeah, and then he's flashing back in his head because she picks up on him spinning the gun and the subtleties that the other people don't see. So, she has it's a smaller part, but it's important. You
Hmm.
need someone in there that's fair. And then at the end, like she's like all busted up and she takes out the guy with the dark hair in the top of the
With the
crane.
big old
Yeah,
whatever gun that
whatever
is.
that is. And Clarence, he gets,
Oh, he gets a good death.
oh my gosh, yes.
Something else that in the rated R version they toned down how much you see of the
Yeah.
blood squirting out.
So yeah, so they're fighting it's like an old refinery or something.
It's they call it the steel mill,
The steel mill, yeah. And they finally get toe to toe.
which is a great location.
Oh, and it's in Dallas.
It looks great.
Yeah. So,
That was in Dallas. I knew the majority of the movie was filmed in Dallas, but
uh-huh.
I didn't know if that steel mill was in Dallas.
You know what? I'd have to look that up to be sure, but I think it is.
I
I
know all the
think
the cityscapes
the
and
cityscapes
everything.
are in Dallas, yeah. So yeah, a lot of this was filmed in Dallas, which is cool. But he stabs him with you know,
His info R2D2
it is kind of like that.
thing,
It's like a R-rated R2D2. So that this little jack that comes out of his hand, that's what he's able to like go
his
into a
USB.
computer, his USB. Um, and that was even before that, which
Yeah.
is funny. But he sticks it into his neck, and like a big piece of the guy's meat falls out. Yeah, that's still so well done.
Actually,
Um,
I thought that was just like a big gush of blood.
oh, I thought I don't know. I thought there was like tissue. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to put in slow-mo and see.
But that's yeah, he gets him. And then before that though, when he stabs RoboCop in the chest,
Oh yeah,
that's painful, man. That looks real. Yeah, and Peter Weller's expression, it's like he's out of breath.
he
Um,
probably was.
yeah. Yeah, because if Peter Weller, he talks about how much of an issue the suit was because it was all pioneering, like
Yeah,
hadn't been done
he
before. They
could
had
barely
issues.
move in it and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
and I believe I've watched videos with him. Peter Weller, like he wasn't just the actor, like he's the one that figured out I'm gonna turn like this, and everything I do is heavy. Like
Hmm.
he figured that out because at first he was moving quicker and it wasn't looking right. So he did a lot more than just,
Yeah, he
say
went
his
to
lines.
I think they said a mime coach.
Yeah, he did.
I
Yeah,
think a mime helped coach him in his
I
movements and
love all
stuff.
that movement that he does. I like the slower, stoic, heavy.
Hmm.
It really works for this.
I really like the fight scene with Ed 209,
Yeah, that's good too.
and especially when you can see the lines,
Oh,
that
coming out.
that the rocket rolls on. If you
Oh,
watch close enough, you can see the string that the rocket
I
flies
got to look
on.
at that a little
Yeah,
closer.
me and Nick were
Yeah,
like, oh, look, look. We saw it
that's
twice. You can
funny.
see it two different times.
I have to look at that closer. But yeah, I mean, in Ed 209, like it does look stop motion, you
Hmm.
know, but it
But it's
doesn't
still
take away from
it
it.
works. It still
Yeah,
works.
it's like part of the charm of it,
Hmm.
you know. Um, so yeah, there's a lot said. Like
Back when movies were made with elbow grease and not green screens.
yeah, it's very well done. Like if I kind of like when I talked about Back to the Future, like like the 7 or 8 movies, like this is one of them too. Like this has been up there since I was a kid, and I like the police cars have that flat black look. Like everything looks
Oh, those four front wheel drive Ford Tauruses, baby.
yeah, but they look I love they
They
look
look great.
good.
Yeah,
They
they
look
look great.
good, and it looks futuristic, but kind of like a grounded futuristic, and
And the matte paintings are good. The OCP headquarters is a matte like it's only really like a two-story building
oh, and
in
then they
Dallas,
add to
and the
it.
rest of it is a matte painting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until I watched the movies that made us, I think,
Wow.
is
I
why I saw that.
So it's well done if you didn't notice it, because I
Oh no,
know.
no, no. I think I watched a somebody on YouTube did a locations video,
Oh, and they showed the
filming
real one.
location video, and they show the building and they show how it was a
Oh,
matte painting, how they make it
that's
taller.
cool. I think they did that also in Batman '89. I think they did some of that, which was around this time too. But yeah, that's some of the best special effects when you don't realize that it was there originally, when it doesn't take away. Anything else you want to mention?
Um,
What about the police chief? I thought he was great. The African American
oh, the
guy.
black guy, no, he was just a sergeant.
Oh, Sergeant,
Yeah,
sorry.
he was the desk sergeant.
Okay, he was great. I liked him in it. You could tell that he's overwhelmed and that, the city's horrible and cops are dying and it's like awful.
But then he also was like, cops don't strike.
Yeah, he was stern with his
Yeah.
people. I liked that. Yeah,
Hmm.
he was good. He said what does he say? We're not janitors or something like that. He says something like we're not this. We're cops.
What did he say?
It's gonna bug you now, huh?
Anyway, yeah, he said we're not whatever. We're police officers, and police officers don't strike.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also when RoboCop arrests Clarence Boddicker,
Mm-hmm.
it was Kurtwood Smith's idea to spit the blood on the paperwork. He
Oh,
said,
that
"Man, wouldn't that be great if I, spit
when
blood
they're
on the paper?"
booking them.
And Verhoeven was like, "Well, let's try it. Let's see." And it
Dang.
give me my effing phone call. Yeah, it just works,
It does.
It just works.
It
The
got,
guy is great,
yeah, wow. That's interesting.
and it's awesome because he's evil, yet no matter what, when his butt was on the line, he
Hmm.
was spilling his guts.
Yeah.
I work for Dick Jones, and he keeps throwing him through the glass and everything. You big chicken.
Yeah, you're right. And dang, yeah, you're right. And I like that everything you were just saying, because when he gets booked, he wouldn't just be like, "All right, sir." Like he would be. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
I like all that. And we didn't even talk about the cocaine factory and
yeah.
all that
Well, that's
stuff.
that's where he arrested him. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's so much in this movie, and it's just funny
Well, you get to
that.
see the targeting system, how he. Oh, we didn't talk about also like when they were um I don't know how you say it, but when
Mhm.
they were making him, when they were
Oh yeah.
and you would see the POV
I love
shots in
that.
it. That was
I
all
love that. And
great.
then the girl, she kisses him and it's fuzzy because
Leaves
it's on his
the
thing.
lipstick on there, yeah.
Yeah. And then
When they're screwing the visor in.
the grid's getting closer.
Simple effects,
I
but it
love that.
works.
Yes.
Simple stuff, but it works.
Yes, I love all that. And
When he
then
grips his hand,
that's cool
he's like,
too because he's yeah. And then Bob, the guy that created RoboCop, he's not like a nice guy,
Mm-mm.
but
He
like,
normally plays a bad guy.
yeah, he's kind of a bad guy, but then compared to Dick Jones,
Oh, he
he's
was good.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's like that whole fight with Dick Jones and Bob through Clarence, like that has nothing to do with RoboCop.
Hmm.
That's like another layer to this movie. It's not just about RoboCop, it's about all the politics and about how seedy, especially when you realize Clarence was working for Dick Jones, like you
Hmm.
said, because you didn't know at the beginning. There's a lot there. And he's like, you're gonna be a bad mother effer.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
that stuff
Uh-huh.
is great. And yeah. Oh, and then he's like, we were able to save the arm.
He's like, lose the arm.
Just so like matter of fact,
Yeah,
like
like lose it.
yeah. And then the African American guy's like, well, he's technically dead, so he belongs to us. And they're like, all right, lose
All
the
right,
arm.
lose the arm.
Yeah, just so like those little things like make it an 80s movie. Like today, that'd be cut out,
Hmm.
So that's interesting. And before we go, that last scene, I love it. I love that last scene. It's a perfect wrap up. It gives you everything you
Yep.
need. You needed that scene because it wasn't enough just to kill Clarence because he was evil, but he was just a part of the machine. He goes into the office and um the board meeting again, right? That boardroom's seen a lot. And he goes in there and
Shows the evidence.
he shows the evidence uh that Dick Jones had to kill Bob, right? Which is the
Yep.
guy that created RoboCop because he made a mistake, all that stuff. And then the head guy hears it, and then they start to scuffle, and then
Well, Robocop
he
says,
shows the evidence.
I'm not allowed to arrest a senior executive of
That's right.
OCP.
Yeah.
And the big guy gets it. He's like, oh, you're fired.
Yes. So
So
then
once he's fired, he can do whatever he
yes,
wants.
I love that. That attention to detail. He fires him, so then the RoboCop can legally shoot him, and then bam, the bad guy's
Yeah.
killed. And then my favorite part is he goes, "That's nice, nice shooting, kid. What's your name?" And then he turns, and you see RoboCop smile for the first time as RoboCop, and he
Mhm.
goes,
Murphy.
"Murphy." So he knows who he is
Right.
now. He has his identity. He's not flesh and bone anymore, but he's got something now. He's more human. He found himself, and he's gonna, you know, do you like that he stayed alive and that he kind of goes on, or do you think it'd be more powerful if he would have died at the
No,
end?
no, no. I think it's great that he stayed
Yeah,
alive.
me too.
I don't think they needed sequels, but I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
Because the sequels are terrible. But
Okay.
no, I think the movie is perfect. It should have been a one and done,
Yeah.
but Hollywood's not gonna pass up a dollar.
Like I said, I always try to see the good. I'll agree with you. The first one, that's on a mountain, A plus up on a hill. Um, the third one is awful.
Yeah, doesn't he have
This,
like a jetpack and
yeah,
stuff?
the
Yeah.
third one's no bueno. The second one, there's a couple of things I like in it, but it's a huge
But
downgrade.
Peter Weller's only in the first one, right?
No, he's in the
He's
second
in
one.
the second one?
He's one of the good things in the second one.
All right.
He's in the second one, and the second one was actually filmed in Houston, and a lot of the locations I know.
You know.
So that kind of added like the Wortham Theater, the George R. Brown Convention Center. Like I know those places, and RoboCop's walking around those places, so that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, it's like I said, the first one's an A plus. The second one is like a D plus, and then the last one I won't talk about. But the second
I
one
know
has a
that
couple
the
things
guy
in
who
it.
played RoboCop in the third one, I know him
Now
from
that's a different guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's from that movie Thinner. Uh
Oh, I've heard about that.
and he's also in Rescue Me with Dennis Leary. He plays
Oh, the show, yeah.
his I don't think he's his brother. I think he might be his cousin or something who was a priest,
Uh-huh.
but he leaves the priesthood or whatever, but it's that guy. He
Oh,
and
okay.
he kind of looks from here, he kind of looks like Peter Weller, so I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why they chose him.
He
But
was kind of similar
he's a
looking.
he's kind of a muscular guy.
Yeah, yeah, and he did kind of look like him. But kind of going back, Peter Weller, like I said, he was perfect for this role. Because when you see Peter Weller years later, like, did you see him in 24?
I never watched 24.
20, okay, it was great. It was a great show for the time. It's, older now, but He was in that show for one season, did great. And then, did you see the Star Trek movie he was in?
Nope.
All right, it was called Star Trek Into Darkness. It was the second one J.J. Abrams did. The movie's not perfect, but he is awesome in it. Like, I want to work for that. Like, it's like you want to like take
No, that's
orders
the
from
isn't
him.
that the third
No,
one?
he's in the second one. He's very confident, and
Because
he's
I've
like,
seen the
"We're gonna
first
go in
few.
and do this."
I don't remember him in it.
Yeah, he's the main. I don't want to give too much away, but he's like the main guy in it. I like him in that movie. Um,
He was in Longmire.
okay, how is he in that?
He was great.
He's great.
Yeah.
Because what I'm getting at is in this movie, he's like a nice guy, but in his later roles, he's like,
Yeah, in Longmire, he's not like a very nice guy.
yeah, that's what yeah. So in this movie, he's that nice, approachable guy, confident when he needs to be. In his later roles, he's very stoic and very like, you're gonna listen to me,
Hmm.
So he changed throughout his career. I like both versions, but that version he was in this for this movie was great.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add? Because I think that about covers it.
This cover of this figure is also the movie poster.
Yep.
I feel like this is one of the greatest movie posters. I really like it. I like how it says part man, part machine, all cop. Uh, it's a perfect. I think one of the better posters that I've seen, over the decades.
Well,
Perfect 80s movie. You can't say
absolutely.
you love 80s movies if you haven't
If
seen
you yeah, if
this.
you haven't seen this or if you don't like it, I don't know if we can be friends. Um, because like I think everybody who watches this probably likes it. I don't know
Mhm.
if I've ever heard somebody say RoboCop sucks.
No, and it's weird because it's an R-rated movie, but it's, an adult movie, but like
But kids love it.
it was marketed to kids.
Ah, the 80s, baby.
But for all the violent stuff, it has heart, you
Hmm.
know, the good defeats evil, it's there's good stuff in it that is good, anytime. So,
All right.
classic.
Well, I guess that'll about do it, guys. Once again, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Um, this is going to be on all podcasts as well, just like everything else. And we will talk about something else soon.
Yep.
Won't be long. See y'all later.